Okay, we're up to making the stripes on the little bee bonnet. Last time I used a fleece felt on this one, and this time I'm going to try, instead of this, I'm going to try using the richer, darker velour. I think I can get a real prettier, a nicer look with that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to make our first strip is going to be 2.5 inches. I believe that's what I did it. Two and a half with seam allowances. You can go 2.5. It's however much you want that to show when you center your seam in the middle. So if you want more than that, add more, or if you want less, add less. I did 2.5, I believe. Let me check here. 2.5, 2 1/4, something like that. Okay, and then the other are only 1.5 inches, so you're going to have 1/4 inch seams. So you'll have 1.5 inches, so this will be a 1 inch strip by the time you put in your 1/4 inch seams. Okay, so as far as cutting this, you're just going to cut your strips, 4 of them for this size hat. If you want it to go really high, just keep adding strip upon strip upon strip, and then you can go even higher on your curve. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to sew these together, and then I'm going to serge them like this, and then I'll show you how we're going to put it in the bonnet. Now this bonnet was, the head was 13, we added 1.5 inches. So I used that 1/2 inch for the seam. So now the inside of this, where I serged it here, that's 14 inches. So I want my strips to be 14.5 so that they'll fit perfect on here. Now you can, the fleece will stretch, and you can also, if you have to ease it in, you'll also be able to ease that in if you have too much fleece. So you can always sort of scrunch it up and ease it in if you got too much. Or you can just take your seam in however you want to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and get this strips sewn up, and then we'll put the hat together. Okay, I sewed all my strips together. I sewed them first on the sewing machine so I could line up, because this fabric tends to want to shift. Even if it's fleece on fleece, it just wants to shift on you. You can tell I got mine shifted right here. Do you see that? It even shifted on the serger. So it's a little off, but it still looks okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use this. But anyway, I sewed them together, then I serged it. Okay, so now we're going to put these together, and we're going to try and keep our fabrics lined up, because what you're going to do now is you're going to sew from the bottom here, and you're going to make yourself an arch all the way up like this, like you're making a half arch. So you're going to come down like this, but you're going to keep this one as up to the yellow before you start your curve, because you want that whole 14.5 inches here to fit in your in the brim part. So let's go ahead and match up our seams. Okay, get your needles out, pins out. Check it before we sew it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a basting stitch, so I can determine if I'm in the right spot or not. If you don't match these up perfectly, it's not a big deal. You should see mine in the front. I didn't match very well. You can see right there. I missed that one. This one up here turned out okay, and this one was okay, but I was off here because I didn't line up my stitches. So it's not always perfect, but just try to get them as close as you can. So this is where I missed them they didn't sew together properly. Okay, so now I'm going to I'm going to baste it before I sew it, because I'm going to test it on the brim of the hat too. So this one won't match anyway because we're going to arch it. Let's see how close we are. There and there. Okay. Put the brim up here. And here. And we're going to sew in a arch. Okay, so I'm going to do a basting stitch to make sure I like what I'm doing. So let's go ahead and go to, we can just go to a regular 1/4 inch seam. Let me just go back to set, but I'm going to use a basting stitch. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. I should have pinned it the opposite way, but we'll see how that works. Okay, so let's just go to our 1/4 inch. And we're just going to baste this. And we're going to arch it. You can draw it if you want to, but you're basically just doing an arch. You can do it multiple times if you don't like the way the first time looks. It's probably easier if you start from the bottom on the other side, but I had my pins in the wrong way. So alright, so do you see what we did? We just did an arch. Let's turn it around and see if we like it. See how well we matched our... Yeah, missed it again on that middle one. Okay, so the top one turned out okay. The middle one not so good. And then the bottom one. So there is our bee bonnet. So I'm going to see if I like that. And put it on the doll before I go any further. Okay, so let's see how that works out. Okay, so let's put it on the bonnet. Okay, let me get the doll. I'll be right back. Okay, I just have the bonnet pinned in place. So you want to check it now, see if you like the angle of it. If not, then you can tighten it up. You can bring in more here. You can just about do anything you want on here. But as long as you like the shape. This is flat right now because I've got pins all the way around just to test it. But I do like the velour a little better than I like the fleece. It's a much brighter, darker color. So here, if you want to make your own pom-pom, you can add a pom-pom to the top. Just sew it in like that. Okay, so you've got a little bee bonnet with a pom-pom. I think it'll fit fine, and I think I like the shape of that arch. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try and fix this one little miss right here, and then I'll show you how to attach it to the actual brim of the hat. So so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to finish off that one seam, fix that one mistake there, and I'm going to trim all this excess velour and fleece off of here, and then I'm going to serge it up all the way across, and then I'll show you how to add it to the actual brim so you don't see the seam on the inside, so you get a soft, because your seam's in here, and what we're going to do is we're just going to tack the brim up in the right location, and that will give you the hat. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, I forgot to mention when you're working with fleece, anything fuzzy, you're going to want to keep your rolling pin around because fuzz balls will get everywhere. They'll get in your fingernails, they'll get, but it's really handy to have one of these so you can keep your area clean, especially on your cutting board. And when you're working with fleece or velour, it's a lifesaver. Okay, so I went back and I took those stitches out and I tried to match this up a little bit better. I got a little bit closer, not perfect, but it's okay. Okay, so then I've serged it. Got rid of the, okay. So there we go. So now we're going to attach it to our brim. So what you want to do is you want to keep your seam up because you're going to sew your brim onto the hat. So how do you know which way to put it together? Well, the easiest way to do it is get it in the right location. So put that where it would be. Same with the back, match your back seams. Okay, so our seam is going to be up like this because we don't want to see a seam in the back. So this is how we're going to pin it. What do I do with the pins? Okay, so go ahead and pin that. Match your back seam with the back of the bee bonnet. And then just pin it. Okay, so now you can do the rest. So this is how you're going to sew it. So you're going to push this to the right side and in, okay, and then you're going to pin the rest of this all the way around the bonnet. I'm not going to do the whole thing on video so you can see it, but at least now you know how to do it. So pin it, so now see how, let me put one more pin in so you can see. Before you sew anything, you always want to check to make sure you have everything in the right location. So let me put a pin right here in the front where the bee is. Okay. Do another one over here. They're exactly 14 inches each, so they should fit perfectly together. If not, I'll ease them in. If there's too much easing in to do, then I can always make that seam thicker. I didn't even that out. I'm missing some. It's not in the right place, but I'm just showing you so you know. Okay, so that's how you're going to sew it in, and then when you turn it to the right side and you flip that up, you'll be right sides to right sides, and then you'll have your bonnet in the right place and you won't see any seam on the inside. Okay, so I'm going to pin it, I'm going to sew it, and then I'll show you the final results, and then I'll, if you want to put a pom-pom, I'll just show you how to, it's simple, you just put your needle up through here and attach your pom-pom. But that's your bee hat. They're pretty simple. Okay, so I'll be back later. Okay, I got the bonnet part, the top of the hat, into the brim. And what I did is I went around my serger twice. I went around twice because I missed a spot and I didn't feel like just doing that, picking up that little spot, so I went around twice. But if you do it right, once is sufficient. Anyway, before I put it on my serger, I pinned it down flat so that my fabric wouldn't slip when I went to run it through the machine, because this velour and the fleece, it just has a tendency to slip on itself, so that's why I pinned it down on the inside. Okay, so there we go. So now what we have to do is to get our bonnet, the brim part, in place in the right location. Okay, so see how we've got that on the inside? We're going to fold it in half, and we'll put a couple pins in. So you want to fold this one in half, your brim in half, so that that middle is caught right there. There's a couple ways you can do this. You can hand tack them in place on the inside, or you can do a bar tack. I like the bar tack, but I only like doing it on the back of the hat. If you do it around the hat, you're going to see the bar tack, and it's going to look like you have little indentations all over the hat. So I like to just catch I like to do a tack from the inside and just catch a little bit of the fabric. So see what I mean? If you come in here and you can take black thread right now and just do a couple tacks, and that'll keep it in the right location. But as far as this one right here, if you want to, you can set your machine to zigzag. Let me show you. Set your machine to zigzag, and then set your length of your stitch down to 0. And then just go back and forth like you're doing a zipper stop. Or you can do it like I do it, and I just tack everything from the inside so you have a smooth finish on the outside. It's however you want to do it. But that's basically what it's going to look like. The finished bonnet is going to look like. The pom-pom is totally up to you. You can put it on or leave it off, however you want to do it. This one is the sock. I did a bar tack on this one. It's very sturdy, and it's hard to see, but I tacked it right here, and because this is the fluffy fleece, the bar tacks aren't as noticeable on these, but it's however you want to do it, whether you want to sew it in a couple places by hand so it stays, like this one's not staying, so I may want to come back and put another bar tack here so it stops flopping around on me like that. So, but there's the sock one, and here's the same matching socks. So you've got the hat and the socks. These are the ones from the thrift stores that you usually buy for like 69 cents each. This is the Christmas one here. I paid 69 cents for that one. And one thing with these little dolls, like the Princess and Me dolls, you only use half the sock, so you can end up getting a pair of knee highs, thigh high, or even just little anklets out of the same. You get 2 pair of socks with 1 hat, so because we're only going to use the one on that one. And then you've got, this one was a 69 center too. I don't know why it says as is. I guess I won't know till I open it up and see what's wrong with the sock. Could be snagged somewhere or something, but this is an Easter sock. And then you've got the big ones. They'll work also. This one I paid $1.99 for, but these were the knee highs, so you can get multiple socks out of that one. But anyway, I'll do the sock one later. But anyway, here we are on the bee bonnet. So decide how you want to tack it, and then that's all there is to it, really. And that's with the velour and the fleece. And then the pom-pom if you want to use it. And there you go. Okay, I'll talk to you guys later.